Hello there, lovely folks of YouTube. Ren here. I am going to try to record an August tour for you. This is actually my second attempt recording. It is so goddamn hot. My camera is not behaving properly. Hopefully this one will at least be visible because the last one was so washed out in the sun that you literally couldn't see anything through half of the tour. So I'm going to be trying to stay in the shadier areas to try and avoid that. But, well, we'll just see what we see, okay? Anyway, so this is, this is my bird bed. You've seen it. I do have a really nice pokeberry going up in the back here. And you see the little berries that are popping up on that. So, let's take a look in the cold frame really quick. Can you see? There they are. So, for some reason my mandrakes have decided to come out of dormancy, even though it's still hot as Satan's ball sack out here. So I don't know what that's about, but that's what they're doing. And then this henbane, this is done, but that's to be expected. It's a biennial. It's set up its seeds. I've collected the seeds, so I'll have more for the future. But yeah. Oh, this is already looking much better than the last video. All right, you can see where I've been weeding here. This was my project for this morning, just getting all this stuff cleared out. I got some sage and thyme. I'm planning on putting some seeds out here before it rains this afternoon. Here in Virginia, we do have 2 growing seasons, and the spring and the fall, basically. So I'm going to take advantage of that fall growing season, and I'm going to plant some seeds for black hollyhocks in here. They won't flower, of course, but they should grow and get established enough that then they'll go through the winter dormancy period, and then hopefully next spring I'll get some hollyhock flowers. So this is another little success I'm really excited about. So this is my moonflower. Has not flowered for me yet, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time. I actually had originally planted like 8 of these things in a whole line all along this fence, and now just seeing how big this one that sprouted has gotten, I'm kind of like, oh, I'm kind of glad I didn't get all 8. So, but yes, I'm very excited. This little runner, you can see this one here. This is one I found that was trailing along the ground, actually, where I was weeding. So I just kind of brought it up and threaded it into the fence there so that it will have some more sun and get some more happy times, and hopefully spread some more in a direction that I want instead of the direction I don't. Anyway, anise is up here. I've already harvested this once, and you can see it's already started blooming again. Pollinators love this one. It probably could be harvested again, honestly. I am going to leave some of those flower stalks, of course, because I do want it to seed and spread, because who wouldn't want more of this plant? It's glorious. Look at that little volunteer in there. That's a mullein. There's another one back there. There's a third, even bigger one back through there that you can see through the rose bush there. All of those volunteers came from that bench right there, because that bench right there is where I was sitting when I was collecting the seed from the mullein volunteer 2 years ago. So that's all seed that dropped to the ground there 2 years ago that apparently just decided to sprout this year, because that's what wild plants do. They just take their own sweet time with it, and some of them will sometimes hang back a little while before they sprout. So you can see where I left my tools here, where I was weeding earlier. You may notice that there's kind of like a line where I stopped weeding, and it's right where the shade ends. That is intentional. Yeah, there's good reason why I don't weed in the sun here in Virginia. Yes. Anyway, let's move. There's another shady spot we can move to over here. It is real freaking hot out here. It's not as hot as it has been, but that sure as hell ain't saying much. So, veggie bed, there are still some carrots in there. I'm going to pull those before we leave. You are seeing this video August 10th is when I'm going to be putting this up, although it is not August 10th when I'm recording this video. I'm recording it in advance of my going on vacation. So, hooray, yay. I might record some videos while I'm on vacation, which you'll probably see in September if I do, but it's really just going to depend on what we end up doing in vacation, because things are very up in the air right now. I am going out to visit my family in Chicago. This was a planned vacation, but the circumstances under which we originally planned it have changed, and I honestly don't know what we're going to be doing out there, because there's a lot of stuff to be dealt with, family stuff to be dealt with, so we'll see. But anyway, back to the garden here. You can see my peppers are doing well. Just as a reminder here, can you read that? I think that's where you can read it right there. So that's the variety of pepper, which again is not one that I would normally buy, but it's literally all that they had available as far as a banana style pepper when I went looking for them. So because my procrastinating self didn't start my seeds in time. So, and then of course my tomatoes here, I have the mortgage lifters, which we're doing okay. I just gave them another dose of fertilizer, so hopefully by the time I get back there'll be plenty of tomatoes. That one there that is producing some fruit is that Costoluto Fiorentino, which I'm kind of have mixed feelings about that one. Like it's fine, it's a good producer, but it does tend towards cat facing on the bottom of the tomatoes, which I'm not crazy about, and the flavor is not really as good as I would have hoped. So anyway, this bed over here though is doing well. There it is. So those are my green beans. I have some older green beans more on the north side of the bed, and then of course the new plantings on the south side, and then on the very far south side is a shit ton of weeds, which need to be cleaned out before I plant anything else in that bed. I don't think I'll plant any more beans, and these are bush beans, by the way, not pole beans, so in case you hadn't figured that out already. But yes, like I said, you know, we do have 2 growing seasons, but like this is the time of year where we're kind of more focusing on the cool weather crops, you know, and getting those in before getting them established before the fall hits. So I'll have to figure out what I'm gonna plant in here. It will not be more green beans, that's for sure. But the green beans are doing well. Boop, 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 boop. You can see a little flower on this one, and there are on the back side here. There, you can see some of the beans that I got to come out and pick. So. And then of course the far bed over there, all that really tall stuff is my lettuce that's gone to seed. So I'm gonna cut that down and just like literally just dig in whatever seed happens to be there, as well as throwing some more seed on top so I can have my fall crop of lettuce, and then just weed out a bunch of stuff. There are cucumbers on the north side on that trellis there that are starting to grow up the trellis now and have some flowers on them. So let's hope we actually get something there. I'm sorry, it's just like, it's so hot out here, it's hard to breathe. Oh my god. And I know I'm not in the best of shape, but Jesus Christ. Whew. Okay, here. My camera likes to occasionally cut out and then cut back in. So I'm gonna cut, and honestly, you probably don't want to see me, like, when I walk across that middle of the yard, it might get washed out. So I'm gonna stop here, and then we'll come back, and I'll be on the other side of the yard, okay? Okay, so here I am in the back corner under my neighbor's maple tree. You can see this back corner here. I do have what appears to be a mulberry that's trying to grow up in the middle of my baptisia. So I need to come out and dig that out because, oh, those freaking mulberries, they pop up everywhere. Especially, it's gotten even worse now that my next door neighbor has a mulberry that grew up in their yard that they didn't do jack shit about. So now the birds are pooping mulberry seeds all over my yard, which is fabulous. But behind it, you can see my oak leaf hydrangea, Alice. And yeah, it's doing really well. It seems to be happy there, which I'm thrilled about because this is the first plant that's lived more than like 3 to 4 weeks in that spot. So yay! Hooray! I finally found something that likes that spot. You can see the sweetgrass is in here. It's getting kind of covered over by my asters. I should probably move those back a little bit so the sweetgrass doesn't get completely subsumed. I need to come out and weed as well. Let's see, can we do this without getting too washed out? Maybe. I think you can see that. Yes, you can. All right, so there's my datura. You can see the one flower there that that's the flower that bloomed last night. So that one is now spent and done, but there are a couple of little thorn apples on there. And then there's also like this right here. That's a flower bud that's probably going to bloom later tonight, honestly, from the way it looks. So that's exciting. And then I do have the gooseberry underneath it, which is growing well. It's in there amongst the weeds, but it's doing okay. Ooh, can we see? All right, good. So my 2 mullein plants here, my volunteers that I moved over here, they're doing okay. In fact, they may, it's hard to tell for sure. I won't know for probably a week or 2. Well, I won't know until it happens, basically, is what it comes down to. But it looks like they may actually send up a flower stalk this fall, which is super exciting. not what I would expect. You know, usually the mullein is biennial, but sometimes they act like annuals. Just depends on what weather cycles they go through, so who knows? We'll see what happens. There are a lot of weeds in this bed. Oh my god, the horseweed is just getting ridiculous, especially. Look at how tall it is. But I do have a few flowers in here. There is the one zinnia that managed to make it. And then I got these little cosmos here. Yay! Cosmos is the October flower, so that's actually, I'm an October baby, so that would be my birth flower. Pots are doing well. So there's my sage, my lavender, my hyssop, and my horseradish, my rosemary, and my lemon verbena. All doing really well. The lemon verbena, I'm going to have to cut those long tops off of it at some point. And then it's going to go into the cold frame for the winter because it cannot overwinter out here. But this is actually the second year for it. So it did overwinter in the cold frame last year. So I have some good hopes that it will do so again. But it's going to need to be trimmed down in order to fit in the cold frame. So this is yet another area that I have not weeded yet because it needs to be in the shade for me to weed. But let's move, not here, not here, not here. Hang on. I gotta move somewhere where my feet won't burn. There we go. I do have, can you see those? There they are. I do have a couple little calendula plants. They're not really digging this spot. I've tried to grow calendula here before and it didn't seem to like it. And instead of just learning from my mistakes, I'm like, let's do that again. And yeah, no. So I need to find some other place that calendula will like better. So, but I do have some seedlings for Genista tinctoria, which is Dyer's broom, which is a perennial that I might put into this little area instead. We'll see if they like it better than the calendula did. So, moving to my other little stepping stone here. Alright, in here, this is the thing that I'm excited about. So, I've already mentioned my little Hosta volunteer, which does need to be moved. I still need to figure out where, but it will be moved. I have several little baby foxgloves that are popping up here, and then of course there's some bigger ones here and here. So I will definitely have foxgloves for next year. But this is actually what I'm most excited about. Look at that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little baby Angelicas. So now this is not the Angelica Archangelica. This is the American native Angelica, which is the, well, one of them anyway. This is the Angelica Atro Purpureum, which is also called purple stemmed Angelica. So very, very similar plant though. This one is supposed to be a perennial, but if that is the case, it's a very short-lived perennial because mine have been acting like biennials. So I had one that seeded last year and then died. And in the springtime, like I know I had intentionally laid the seed down in that area for new ones to pop up. And I kept watching for them in the spring and they never showed up. And I was very disappointed. But then apparently they just need to take their sweet time. So, because they're here now. So I'm excited for that. Probably, they'll continue to grow that little rosette of leaves for the rest of this year. And then next year I should have some good flower stalks that pop up. So that's an exciting little development there. Alright. Holy moly. Let me move back. It's too hot to step on these stepping stones for long. Whew. Okay. Get into the shade here. Yikes. Whew. You can see my mugwort is all flopped over. So that needs to be... I've already trimmed some of it back, but I need to do some more. This is my agrimony here. See those little flower... the seeds on that. That's why it gets the name cocklebur. So there's another little guy in here, which you can just see is just kind of starting to bloom. That is tansy. One of the common names on that, of course, is buttons. And you can kind of see the flower hasn't fully bloomed yet, but honestly, the flower doesn't get too much bigger than that. It literally does look like a little yellow button. So that's where it gets that name. Alright, let's move back over here by the pond. So, you can see this area here just got trampled to hell by all the workers that were coming in and out of my crawl space, doing work in my crawl space this, like, late spring. But, you know, I'll loosen that earth a little bit. I'll put some compost down, and then hopefully stuff will grow back into that area again. So it's already kind of a tough spot because of the tree here. You know, sucks a lot of the nutrients out of that soil, and yeah. Anyway, let's go by the pond. There is one thing. Can I see? Oh, they're hiding. Okay. I think if we go around the other side, you'll see it better. So, but I do have a little visitor at my pond that I'm really excited for. Oh, I see a fishy. Oh, he came up for a second there. So the water does need a little water clarifier. I mean, that's fine. It always does. So it's a weekly thing. Just pond maintenance is like a real thing, y'all. It's a lot. So anyway, let's come over here. Oh, he is there. You can kind of see him. Oh, there's a spider web there. One of the little garden spiders. You can just barely see him on the other side of the web. And I love those little, the webs that they make that look like a zipper. It's just so much fun. I love them. So, anyway. Woo! Yep. Pond. I need to harvest the seeds off of my meadowsweet that's growing here. There's just so many things to do and not enough time to do it. This is basically my last day, because I have to work the next 3 days and then we fly out immediately after that. So, and of course it's forecast to rain later, so I'm gonna have to really get off my butt and try and get some stuff done. It's just so freaking hot. Why does it have to be so hot? Anyway, I'm gonna end this video here. A look at my lady of the pond. So we'll just call it a day here. I hope this video finds you well, and I will see you again soon.